Okay. At this point, you've all read the letter from your parents and you've shared them with the class. Some of you thought this was an evil plot, some sort of sick experiment, and there's people controlling us and bad things. Some other people think that this is maybe the world ended and this is the last bit of society. Maybe we're all clones of our parents. Who knows? Other people had someplace in between. There is all kinds of things going around your head, and this is I'm sure very confusing to you. But in the end, you're still here, and you still have a kid you're raising. So you raise your kid best way you know how. You don't know again if this is an evil plot or the last bit of humanity. You don't know if these helicopter people, as we like to call them, are keeping you alive for an evil reason or for a good reason. We have no idea. But 20 years go by from the first day. Now, those of you who are good at math means that you know this is 12 years from our last installment. And this means that one day your kid is in school and they get an assignment to create their own new town. And on their next birthday, they will be sent off at the Gringle Festival to start their own town. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Let that sink in for a moment. You are in the same position that your parent was in before. You are in the position of having to just watch as you know something is going to happen to your own kid, and then you have to decide if that's okay with you. Now, there's a couple things that are non-negotiable. One, the assignment has to happen. They have to design the town. And then while that's going on, the parents are going to be planning for this giant Gringle Festival party. Now, the helicopter people have told us that they will give us whatever we want within the rules of our town for this festival. It's going to be this huge party. Okay. Now, at this huge party, they'll give you food, games, whatever you want, as long as it's within the rules of our town. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. You don't like this rules. Okay. There is one other thing that you have to remember. Let's say you didn't want to send your kid. You hid them or refused to let them go. You will no longer be receiving supplies for them. So if you don't let your kid go, you don't get supplies for them. You have to share the supplies with them. And that doesn't sound that bad, but it'd be harder than you'd think. We also don't know what happens to the adults. I know some of you guys had the ideas, or at least classes usually do, that when the kids leave, the adults are killed by the helicopter people. Could be. We don't know. And then the last thing I want you to remember, if we don't send the kids, 8 years from now, that kid's going to receive a baby. So let's just say we held all of our kids back. That baby is considered as a supply, and it's going to go where it's supposed to be. So if we don't send the kids, then in 8 years, there's going to be a baby delivered to a field, your own grandchild, I suppose, that doesn't have anyone to raise it. Now, there's room on the helicopter. Let's say there's 50 of us, and there's room for exactly 50 kids to go. Okay? And there's going to be supplies that will keep going to their new place for 50 kids. There's 50 of us here. That's what we have to think about. Okay? So what's going to happen is, this is the 20 years later. You are going to create a character right now. And this character, and this questionnaire is on Google Classroom. You have your character's name, what they do for a living, what's your child's name, why do you think we were put here, what's your biggest fear and why, and this is within the story. I don't want to hear spiders or something like that. Are we in danger? Why do you think so? What do you think should happen to the children? Is the Gringle real? How do you know? Long ago, we were visited by two strangers. One told us to leave, one told us to stay. Who was right? And is this place a paradise or a prison? So you have to make these decisions of what your character believes. And then we're going to act out a scenario. afterwards that is going to be all about whether how your character would react in this. You have to stay true to whatever decisions you make in this. Really don't take these lightly. Try to really make these decisions the ones that you really believe in, because if you don't, then your character is going to not be deep, and it's going to be a shallow character, and you're going to have a hard time with this. Okay? So, that being said, thank you guys very much for taking this seriously. The last thing we'll do is a town hall meeting based on your characters.